If you traveled back 4 billion years, you would personally witness the birth of Earth's first life, the origin of all things, a single-celled organism called LUCA. Then as time moved forward to 2.4 billion years ago, Earth at this time was covered by massive methane clouds, with the entire planet appearing as a yellow celestial body. During this period, land masses experienced volcanic eruptions that continued for millions of years, filling the world with vast amounts of toxic gases. Therefore, the land had no conditions suitable for life. However, in the oceans at this time, plankton began to appear. Their cellular structure was more complete, having even evolved photosynthesis and begun producing oxygen. It was through the relentless day and night efforts of these organisms over nearly 2 billion years that Earth's environment was completely transformed. When time reached 575 million years ago, soft-bodied animals began appearing in the oceans. At this stage, most could only anchor themselves to the seafloor, with only a few organisms attempting short-distance movement. The emergence of jellyfish was also a milestone event. Around 530 million years ago, they became the first life forms capable of detaching from the seafloor and successfully learning to swim. These pioneers' explorations were just the beginning of life's explosion. By 508 million years ago, trilobites had spread throughout the underwater world. These were peculiar creatures whose most notable feature was their evolution of hard protective armor. These arthropods were among the first organisms of this new dynasty. The oceans now contained Earth's first super predator, Anomalocaris. Its pair of large eyes that could rotate 360 degrees were its primary hunting tools, allowing it to detect any prey's movements, including those small trilobites. Although we just mentioned trilobites had hard armor, when facing history's earliest super predator, they still needed to hide. Because if they exposed their bodies on open ground, Anomalocaris would certainly spot the prey and immediately give chase. By taking advantage of the brief delay in Anomalocaris' attacks due to its massive size, trilobites could demonstrate their top-class escape techniques. Even when accidentally cornered, they could rely on their ultimate survival tactic, curling into a ball. The advantage of this was making their shells impregnable. Anomalocaris could do nothing against them. This wasn't because Anomalocaris was weak, but because the trilobite curled into a perfect sphere left no vulnerabilities to exploit. An excellent hunter wouldn't waste energy on pointless efforts. After biting unsuccessfully for a while, it could only leave. Once the threat was completely gone, this trilobite would happily continue its journey. That's right, it wasn't just wandering aimlessly. What it sought now was one of the most spectacular sights in the ancient oceans. Countless trilobites would gather here to reproduce. Now let's look at the situation on land. By 500 million years ago, for most of our planet's history, the land had been inhospitable to life. The scenes were apocalyptic. But the process from 0 to 1 wasn't so difficult. Near the ocean shores, life had already begun its first challenges. The first species to come ashore was lichen. These may seem ordinary, but they were truly unique because lichens are neither plants nor animals. They're a strange combination of fungi and algae.